If you've ever looked at the scale after a full day of eating better, after working out, hitting your daily steps, and you notice that it barely moves, I want you to hear me out on this. You still might be losing fat even if the scale isn't changing. I can't tell you how many women that I coach, especially nurses, who panic when the scale goes up a pound, but their clothes fit better, their scrubs fit better, their waist shrinks, and they're actually building muscle. And that's because weight loss and fat loss are two completely different things. One just measures the total mass and the other one measures how your body actually looks. So that incorporates muscle, fat, and water. And when you truly understand the difference, that's when you'll stop letting the cheap plastic scale control your progress and your emotions. So in this video, I'm going to break down what's actually happening within your body, how to track true fat loss, and what metrics that actually matters if your goal is just to look more toned, be strong, and feel more confident. So I want to give you guys a quick example. Here's one of my clients who's a full-time nurse who came to me frustrated because the scale wasn't moving. Now fast forward 3 months later, she looks completely different. And guess what? The scale barely moved. As you can see by her progress photos, this tells a completely different story. You can tell that she has a tighter midsection, more definition, and even improvement in her posture. So I realized we needed to switch things up and actually dive deeper. So I had her eat more protein. She was training consistently in the gym and gaining lean muscle mass. And on top of that, her body fat percentage was going down, even though the number on the scale wasn't going down at the rate that she wanted it to. And I see this happen over and over with my clients. The moment you stop chasing the number on the scale and start tracking real body composition, everything changes. There are so many better indicators of progress. And I feel like as women, we're so hyper fixated on the number on the scale, especially because society tells us that women are supposed to look a certain way, behave a certain way, weigh a certain amount. Like, I know we all talked about Kevin Samuels in the past on how, you have to be a certain dress size, you have to be a certain weight to be acceptable in society. But if we take a step back and truly stop focusing on the number on the scale and realize that there's so much value in actually being capable, not just in the gym, but in real life, and actually building real strength and results that actually last, you'll come to realize that the number on the scale doesn't really matter. So here's why fat loss should be the goal instead of just weight loss, because your body is made up of two things. We have fat mass and we have lean mass. Fat mass is what you actually want to lose, right? The body fat on the love handles, the body fat, the bottom portion of your stomach, the body fat on the double chin, the body fat under your arms. That's the fat we want to lose. And then we have lean mass, which is what you don't want to lose, depending. So this consists of muscle, bone, your organs, water, and glycogen that's stored within your muscles and liver. So if you're building muscle while losing fat, you might notice that the scale is probably not going to even change. In fact, sometimes you might notice that it goes up, but you notice that your progress photos look completely different. You're performing better in the gym. You feel more confident overall, and you just have better energy over the day. If we're being honest, those are huge wins and better indicators of progress than just a number on the scale. So now here are some more reasons as to why fat loss should be the goal and not weight loss, because these things are going to contribute into weight. We have glycogen, number one. So glycogen gets stored in your muscles and your liver from the carbs that we eat. We have glucose in our bloodstream that's there to be used for energy. And when our body doesn't use that for fuel, it gets stored within our muscles and our liver for later use. So now for every 1 gram of glycogen that gets stored, our body is going to hold on to 3 to 4 grams of water. So now water retention, that's going to play into weight. If you eat more carbs or eat a carb heavy day, or simply just reintroduce carbs back into your diet, and you decide to step on the scale 2 days later, yes, you will see a spike and an increase on the number on the scale, but that doesn't mean that you've put on body fat. Now, let's say you decide to do keto, for example, and go to a low or no carb diet. Yes, you will see the number on the scale drop tremendously, especially in the first couple of days. And people tend to confuse that with fat loss. Yes, with keto, you will lose fat a lot more easily because you're eating more fat, more protein. Those type of foods are more satiating, meaning that it keeps you fuller for longer. So you can stay in your calorie deficit and actually lose fat. But in the beginning, since you're slashing your carbs so quickly, your body is also going to release all that excess water from the glycogen that I mentioned earlier that's stored within your muscles and your liver. Since you're not eating as many carbs, your body needs to tap into those glycogen stores for energy. So if you understand the nuances behind it and you understand the science behind it, you will be able to realize, okay, this is why the number on the scale went up. This is why the number on the scale went down. Another reason why you shouldn't just focus on weight alone is because as women, we have our periods and we have our cycle each month. So now let's talk about hormones. Estrogen, for example, this does play a role in your metabolism, your energy levels, and water retention. During your cycle, your estrogen levels are going to drop. So you might notice you might feel a little bit more puffy puffy, more bloated, you might hold on to more sodium, and where sodium goes, water typically follows. So you're going to actually have more water retention during that time as well, which also plays a role in weight. So yes, during your cycle, you will see an increase on the number on the scale. But again, this doesn't mean that you gain fat. Or even just eating more salty foods, like I mentioned previously, where sodium goes, water typically follows. So if you're eating a diet high in sodium, yes, you might notice that you retain more water and see an increase on the number on the scale. Now, I want to break down another reason why you might see an increase on the number on the scale. Let's say you step into the gym and you have a heavy leg day plan ahead of you. You're doing RDLs, you're doing squats, you're doing lunges, you're doing a heavy compounds that really are going to tear your muscles apart and cause an inflammatory response. So when you create those little micro tears within your muscles during a heavy leg day, your body is going to respond by sending fluids, by sending nutrients to start the recovery process. So those areas of inflammation actually cause water retention. But this is actually a good thing. This is a sign that your body is responding in the way that it needs to in order to build back what you just broke down. So even though you're in a consistent calorie deficit, but you just performed a heavy, brutal leg day, yes, you will see an increase on the number on the scale by possibly 1 to 3 pounds. So here's what to start tracking instead. I want you to start tracking your progress photos, your body measurements, your performance in the gym, and how you feel overall throughout the day. You will be shocked on how freeing it feels to track these metrics instead of just focusing and obsessing over the number on the scale. So with your progress photos, focus on taking them within the same lighting, with the same clothing every 1 to 2 weeks. So I like to have my clients do this every Sunday because it does motivate them to keep showing up for the new week. Just think about it, being in a state of mind where you're looking at your progress photos on a Sunday, you're happy because you're noticing the changes, you're seeing the physical changes. So that's going to really motivate you to continue to show up for the new week. So now with your body measurements, take a tape measure and wrap it around your waist at the smallest area, which is typically 1 to 2 inches above your belly button. I have them measure their hips at the widest part and their bust. If we notice that these numbers are changing, then we're making progress and fat loss is happening. Now with your performance, you have to ask yourself, are you making some type of progression each week? Are you recovering properly, or are you recovering even faster? Because stronger muscles is going to improve your metabolism. Improving your metabolism is going to make fat loss easier. So one structure that you can use to see if you're improving the performance in the gym is, let's say, for example, you have hip thrust scheduled for your lower body days. For Monday, you're doing 100 pounds for 10 to 12 reps. Now on Thursday, you do it again, the same weight for 10 to 12 reps, but you notice it feels easier for you. So now let's say you increase the weight by 100 pounds and you drop the rep range of working between 8 to 10 reps instead of 10 to 12 reps like you were doing previously. So now since you've increased that weight and dropped the rep range, it feels so much harder, but you're continuing to do it. So now with that increase in weight, let's say you're continuing at that stage and now you're doing 8 to 10 reps again, but you notice it feels easier. So now you increase the rep range that you were working at before to 10 to 12 reps with the new increase in weight. And you notice that it's still hard, so you stay at that range. So now the following week, that increase in weight and that increase in the rep range feels so much easier for you. So now you repeat the process again and again and again. You increase the weight, you drop the rep range, you increase the rep range until it feels easier, and then you continue the process again. This is a sign that you're getting stronger in the gym and that you're building muscle and that you're making great progress. And lastly, the last metric that you're paying attention to is, how are you feeling overall? How's your energy? How's your digestion? How's your confidence? Do you notice that you wake up with more energy? You might not need as much caffeine as you typically used to drink. Are you having normal bowel movements now? You're showing up differently throughout the world. You're showing up as a better healthcare worker. You're showing up as a better mom, as a better girlfriend, as a better friend. These are signs that you're making great progress. But here's the truth. Anyone can lose weight fast. They can cut their carbs, dehydrate, and slash their calories, but that's not sustainable, and it's what wrecks your metabolism. Real fat loss is slower, but it's permanent. It's the difference between looking smaller and being more toned. It's the difference between dieting and actually reshaping your body and fueling it with what you actually need. And as women, our bodies go through enough stress already. We got to factor in long shifts, possibly poor sleep during our cycles, hormonal changes, high cortisol. So your goal should be improving your strength, improving your body composition, and not just chasing a number on the scale, because if you take that approach, you're going to be chasing a number for the rest of your life. Now, if you're just tired of yo-yo dieting and you actually want to build lean muscle, lose body fat in the most sustainable way that helps you keep it off for life, I made a free video training showing the exact process that I use to help my clients go from this to this inside shape and build. They've been able to lose body fat, build muscle, all within 90 days. So if you want that to be you, click the link down below in the description. Make sure you watch the free video. And most importantly, I'll see you guys in the next one.